Big bitch.
I'm Josh.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Stacy.
And I'm Christian.
And we're
Humor, Haunts, and Homicide.
All right, everybody. We are at the end of our season 3 journey. We are Humor, Haunts, and Homicide. And in case you forgot, you got me, Josh. We got my amazing husband, Dylan. We got your co-host and lovely wifeys, Stacy and Christian Garcia, coming at you from Michigan. And we are here to, first of all, before we get into our obsessions for the week, let's talk about something amazing and exciting that we want to celebrate. And that is going to be that our co-host Stacy Garcia graduated from college. Woo! Stacy, take us through that journey and why this is such a monumental milestone for you and your family.
Oh my goodness. So I have been trying to finish college. I started when I was way younger, about 13 years ago, to be honest. And so I started my associates at a community college. I actually ended up finishing that degree, my associates in general studies, and then I moved on to my bachelor's at the University of Michigan, Flint. I am ecstatic to finally have finished my associates and my bachelor's, so that's 2 degrees down in 4 years. It's been a hell of a ride. Christian has been such a huge, enormous support system for me, taking care of everything financially while I'm able to go and finish this degree. So now I have my BBA, which is a bachelor's in business administration. And I'm so excited to finally go back into my field of defense and aerospace and start working again.
We made it to the home stretch.
Yes, we did. We definitely made it to the home stretch. That's that Flint education I got. But no, I'm definitely excited. The university has been amazing. I love the campus on the Flint side of things, not having to travel too much further than that. It's all my classes, were available online. I only had to set foot basically on campus to just get my books from the bookstore. Other than that, I could have even had those shipped to my house. So everything was just amazing. I graduated early, so I'm all done with classes finally in September. Yes, I do have the last few of classes, but at least I don't have the stress of graduation on my head either. So thank you. You guys have also been a huge support system, Dylan and Josh, and I appreciate you guys listening to me cry about my classes and, just moving along this journey of life. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter holds for sure.
Well, I can tell you that it's nothing but success and happiness and fun times and memories made.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, big congrats. It's to accomplish 2 degrees in 4 years. That's a big accomplishment. So congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have these last classes behind me.
Absolutely. I fucking hate school. So for people that can go through that many years of school, I'm going back into myself, like I mentioned before, and even getting the certificate program done. I don't know how people balance full-time work, a business, a podcast, and fucking school. I don't know. How is this like insanity? What are we doing to ourselves?
Yes, it sounds like it. It sounds like it's a lot.
That's why I've been so blessed and so thankful for Christian and for this opportunity to be able to just focus on school, because it's definitely hard. And especially taking 4 to 6 classes a semester. So that's every couple of months. It's 4 to 6 classes. That's 4 to 6 times the exams, times the tests, times the, everything else, and maintaining my GPA that allowed me to graduate early and everything. So I'm extremely blessed for sure.
Congratulations again. And we're excited to see all your success and progress.
Thank you. I'm very excited to share those with you.
Who wants to start with our obsessions this week?
Oh, I will. So, because of graduation, I went all out. I got the U of M bow tie. I got a navy little suit jacket. I got a button down off blue. I went to the whole 9 yards for graduation for sure. I got even my U of M tennis shoes that I've had for many years because of football season. So I actually get the they're Nike tennis shoes that I got from the football season because they released the college shoes as well. So I picked up those. I wore those to graduation. But something I've never done before, and that is my obsession and has been my obsession since I got them done, are my nails. I never have gotten my nails done before, obviously with just regular polish, but I mean, these were like gel polish, and you have to put them underneath that little light thing and to dry, and she pushed back my cuticles and cut all my dead little skin off my fingers. I'm like, what is happening? This is amazing. So I had a lot of fun. I was completely obsessed. I told Christian, I'm like, oh, I can't do the dishes anymore. I can't, do this or that because I can't mess up my nails. It was quite the experience.
That's
I told her we were gonna get her some gloves.
yeah. That's what those things are fucking for, right?
Yep. Yep.
She did the dishes for me. Don't let her lie to you.
Yeah, I sure did.
Give us some nail cam for the audience.
So it's been a couple days or so, but as you can see, they're like blue maize color. You have the M for University of Michigan, and then I have a little motorboard on my other one, little graduation hat, and some sparkles. So I had such a good time getting them done and stuff. I told Christian, I'm like, well, looks like I might need to do my nails every so often, like once a month.
Great.
Renee, actually, our previous co-host, she gets her nails done at least probably every 2 to 3 weeks, and she changes the color every time, very similar to what you have, and she's obsessed.
Yeah, I totally get now why, I have to take my mom, who Christian and I take care of and stuff, and she wants to go every once a month. I'm like, why? Okay, now I totally get it. I might just get them done with her now.
You know what? If it makes you feel good, fucking do it.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. Who's next?
I'll go. Mine is gonna have to be those Ghirardelli milk chocolate squares with the caramel in the middle. Oh my gosh, the way it just melts in your mouth, it's like butter.
It's actually caramel, but to each their own.
No, it's caramel up here.
All you out there, is it caramel? Is it caramel? What is it like when you're from? Is it pop? Is it soda? What's your dialect? And what is right and what is wrong? We need to know.
There's 2 A's in the word caramel, and I will die on this hill. Thank you.
Alexa, is it caramel or is it caramel?
No. Caramel typically contains sugar, and caramel is composed of sugar, butter, syrup, cream, corn syrup, condensed milk, sweetener, heavy whipping cream, topping.
Oh, she ain't stopping. Alexa, stop. That's a talkative bitch. All right, well, I guess she's not helping us with the war, so that's fine.
My obsession, it's a weird one. It's the weather. Living in Florida my entire life, dealing with hurricanes. We're coming up into hurricane season. They're predicting, there's a forecast coming out the week before Memorial Day of how many hurricanes, with projected whether it's going to be catastrophic or tropical storms. We've dealt with hurricanes for many years, living in the South. And then you just have people in Michigan where you guys are dealing with snow and it's almost 100 degrees here. So, depending on where you live in the country, whether it's out west and you deal with wildfires or you deal with tornadoes, it's just crazy to see how the weather just happens so quick.
You're not fully telling the truth about the level of unhingedness with your weather, though, because let's just talk about the amount of cities that you saved into your Weather Channel app for absolutely no necessary reason in life.
I just like to know what's going on for the weather.
If you want to know right now what's going on in like Lincoln, Nebraska, Dylan's got you.
Oh my gosh.
You maybe picked the wrong career. Maybe go into like meteorology.
Yes.
That would be perfect for Dylan, actually.
I do have to say that I agree with Dylan on the weather obsession. This morning I seen it was gonna rain for just a hair, and I straightened my hair. I sprayed it, I got it all pretty. I made it to work, and I turned into a damn frizzball. It was so humid and wet and gross, and now I just look gross and disgusting.
And honestly, I only look at the weather in the summer mostly because I want to know when I can mow.
You're ridiculous.
I have a obsession remix question. Do you drink milk while mowing the lawn?
Ooh, that's definitely no, not while mowing the lawn, but I will come in and have a glass of milk after mowing the lawn. I gotta cut the line somewhere.
Get your little bottle so you can like sip it on your drive.
Yeah, in like 70, 75-degree weather. That really is gross.
Oh, that's great. Well, I would say my obsession is going to be the overall movie experience as itself. We recently went back to the movies after taking a little bit of time off. We were huge movie people. We had movie passes to AMC. There was like 25 a month for each, so we were budgeting 50 a month, and we were seeing like 3 movies a week, so it was worth it. But then we kind of slowed down as movies that we didn't really like weren't really popping into theaters. And then we found ourselves not going for 3 months, and then we were just paying money to not go see any movies. And it wasn't like we didn't have the time. We would have made time if we liked the shit that was out in theaters. So now, all the good stuff's coming back. Jurassic Park and the Marvel, the Thunderbolts we just got done seeing. And they're making the Practical Magic 2, which we posted about, which is completely fucking exciting. We're all super stoked about that. I mean, there's so many other ones coming out too, like the Megan 2.0. I can't wait to see that in theaters. I can go on and on. There's just so many new ones coming out. So I'm obsessed over the movies and I have to see them all. So I'm probably going to have to get our passes again. I'm sorry to say.
I mean, it makes sense, to get them or whatever, because there's a crap load of movies out, like you just said, that I'm interested in too. Christian's a Jurassic Park junkie for sure.
Oh my gosh.
And we're both super stoked to see Practical Magic 2. So we're definitely there with you. But we wait to stream. Whenever they come on the streaming services that we have, we're like, we'll just wait it out because I want to kick back in my rocking chair and old school like grandma and watch my movies in comfort of my own home. Thank you.
Funny, we have a projector. What the fuck did I just say? Projector? We have a projector and we have a screen, and then we just never use it. I can't ever talk Dylan into using it. We have chairs. We have a garage that's plenty big enough to have the space. Even when it's hot, we could have some air in there, some fans going around. No, it doesn't matter. He'll find an excuse so we don't have to set it up. It takes 5 fucking minutes. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't matter. He won't do it. And I love that movie experience. That's why I bought the damn thing on an Amazon special for Black Friday a couple years ago. But no, can't get him to do it.
You should definitely try to do that more, Dylan, and especially if you guys have like us come over and stuff, and we can just throw party, probably play Mario Kart on that. So that would be fun.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, just when it's not super hot out, it's just humid and my skin's sticky and I hate it. No.
Yeah, I totally get that because I am not about the hot. I'm all about winter and everything winter, so.
It was just 83 degrees and I was loving it.
No. I had to turn on the air. I'm like, nope, can't have any of this.
We'll just do like a partner swap, like a wife swap. Christian will come to me and you, and you guys can enjoy that fall Arctic tundra, and Christian and I can come enjoy the nice tropical paradise.
Perfect.
I'm so down.
Bye.
All right, Christian, my dear, what are you going to spook us with for the finale this week?
So I am doing Waverly Hills Sanatorium. I have always been intrigued by this place. It's so creepy, and half the shit that I researched on this, I had no idea about. Okay. So, let's get started. Beyond the veil of time stands a fortress of suffering, a place where shadows stretch long, where the air itself trembles under the weight of the past. This is Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a monument of both hope and horror. And an FYI for anyone who doesn't know what a sanatorium is, it's a hospital that often specializes and provides treatment and care for long-term or chronic and mental illnesses. Waverly Hills is a hospital built for healing, but forever stained by the agony of those it could not save. Over 60,000 souls lost to disease, despair, and perhaps something far darker. Some say the walls still whisper their names, that the echoes of pain still linger in every empty hallway and in every silent room. Others claim the spirits here are restless, trapped in the suffocating gloom of forgotten history. But history does not forget. It waits, watching, calling out to those who dare to listen. Tonight, we walk among the ghosts. We step into the abyss where life met death and where death refused to let go. Are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah, baby. Bring it on.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Waverly Hills Sanatorium is a sprawling, boomerang-shaped building located in Louisville, Kentucky along the Ohio River. At the turn of the 20th century, the Ohio River Valley was suffering with countless cases of tuberculosis, which was then referred to as White Plague, White Death, or consumption. With the disease spreading rapidly and no cure for it, a small hospital was built on top of Waverly Hills to accommodate patients with early-stage tuberculosis. Over the years, that small hospital would grow into Waverly Hills Sanatorium, the site of pain, suffering, and death that went on for decades. Waverly Hills is now believed to be one of the most haunted places in the world. As Waverly Hills grew, it became a self-sustaining property with its own zip code, post office, laundry, butcher, water treatment facility, and acres of farmland. As a result, Waverly Hills had limited contact with the outside world to prevent infection. However, this also made life at Waverly Hills very isolating. Doctors and nurses could not leave the property and lived full-time at Waverly Hills. Because tuberculosis was a relatively new disease with no cure, new treatment methods were constantly being explored. Treatments at Waverly Hills was fresh air, a healthy diet, and plenty of rest. Fresh air was encouraged so much that there are photos of patients sitting in chairs covered in snow during the winter months. Sunlight was also believed to treat tuberculosis, so patients with TB would go on the roof of the new building, giving them extended exposure to sunlight. Unfortunately, there were cruder methods for treating the disease. Patients would sometimes undergo artificial pneumothorax procedures that wholly or partially collapse the infected lung, which a balloon would replace. Patients could also have lymph nodes removed from the lung or have portions of the lung removed. The most extreme treatment was removing 7 to 8 ribs, which was believed to allow greater lung expansion. For patients whose TB had spread to their brain, doctors used electroshock therapy to combat the psychological effects of the disease to limit the benefit. My gosh, but. As you might imagine, death was a near daily occurrence at Waverly Hills, due to the extreme and often ineffective methods. The constant cloud of death over the sanatorium usually resulted in low spirits among patients. The death rate at Waverly Hills eventually became so high that they built a secret tunnel to move bodies out of the sanatorium. The tunnel is commonly referred to as the body chute today. Not all deaths were a result of tuberculosis, though. 2 nurses took their own lives at Waverly Hills in the 1920s and 30s. A man was murdered inside the building when it was abandoned, and there's a story of a tragic accident involving the death of a young boy who may have also been murdered. Even after Waverly Hills closed as a tuberculosis hospital, it reopened as a nursing home that developed a reputation for inhumane treatment of patients. During the years that Waverly Hills stood abandoned, 2 men reportedly died on the property. One was said to be murdered by drug dealers, and the other fell down an elevator shaft with his poor dog. Since then, the apparitions of both men and the dog have been seen on the property. The owner of Waverly Hills even reported seeing the ghost man and his dog while locking up. By 2001, the once elegant building had nearly been destroyed by time, the elements, and the vandals who came here looking for a thrill. Waverly Hills had become the local haunted house, and it became a magnet for the homeless looking for shelter. and the teenagers who broke in looking for ghosts. The hospital soon gained a reputation for being haunted, and stories began to circulate of resident ghosts, like the little girl who was seen running up and down the third-floor sunroom, the little boy who was spotted with a leather ball, the hearse that appeared in the back of the building dropping off coffins. On the 5th floor, visitors have encountered a full-body apparition of a woman running down the halls with her wrists cut and screaming. Visitors also told of slamming doors, lights in the windows as if the power was still running through the building, strange sounds and eerie footsteps in empty rooms. Other legends told of a man in a white coat who was seen walking in the kitchen and the smell of cooking food that sometimes wafted through the room. The kitchen was a disaster, a ruin of broken windows, fallen plaster, broken tables and chairs, puddles of water and debris that resulted from a leaky roof. The cafeteria had not progressed any better. Several people have reported footsteps in the room, a door swinging shut under its own power, and the smell of fresh-baked bread in the air. The 5th floor of the old hospital consisted of 2 nurses' stations, a pantry, a linen room, medicine room, and 2 medium-sized rooms on both sides of the 2 nurses' stations. One of these rooms, room 502, is the subject of many legends, and just about every curiosity seeker that had broken into Waverly Hills over the years wanted to see it. This is where people have seen shapes moving in the windows, have heard disembodied voices, and if legends are to be believed, have jumped to their deaths. There are a lot of legends about what went on in this part of the hospital, but the biggest misconception was that this floor was used to house mentally ill tuberculosis patients. This was not the case. The patients here were not insane, nor were they confined to their rooms. They were free to move about just like patients on all of the other floors of the hospital. This floor, thanks to its design, allowed patients to still benefit from the fresh air and sunshine that was believed to cure, or at least extend the life of those with the disease. It was centered in the middle of the hospital, and the 2 wards extending out from the 2 nurses' stations were glassed in on all sides and opened out onto a patio-type roof. According to the stories, a nurse was found dead in room 502 in 1928. She had committed suicide by hanging herself from the light fixture. She was 29 years old at the time of her death, unmarried and pregnant. Her depression over the situation led her to take her own life. It's unknown how long she had been hanging in this room before her body was discovered. And this would not be the only tragedy to occur within room 502. In 1932, another nurse who worked in the same room jumped from the roof patio and fell several stories to her death. No one seems to know why she would have done this, but many have speculated that she may have actually been pushed over the edge. But there are no records to indicate this. In addition to these identifiable spirits, countless shadow figures lurk amongst the 5 floors of Waverly Hills. The most disturbing is an entity known as the Creeper. The Creeper does not seem to be human, but rather a large shadow figure that has been spotted climbing the walls and ceiling of the 4th floor. Another terrifying entity visitors have encountered are doppelgangers. These entities look precisely like their victim. Imagine seeing someone who looks like you in the dark, decrepit hallways of Waverly Hills. There's an old superstition that people have been known to die after seeing their doppelganger, which makes witnessing one at the hospital even more terrifying. Waverly Hills is filled with sounds of the past. Auditory hauntings include screams, moans, sounds of doctors performing surgery, and relentless coughing. Children's laughter has also been heard, which is a chilling reminder of the young patients who lost their lives here. People have also felt spirits holding their hands while walking down the hallway. Others have felt body pain as if experiencing the symptoms of TB or the barbaric surgeries once performed here. The halls of Waverly Hills have spoken. Their whispers carried through time, etched into the very bones of its walls. Shadows stretch long here, reaching, grasping, never satisfied, and never silent. The unanswered cries of the past don't fade. They fester. And when the night deepens, when the world quiets, the echoes rise once more. Some places refuse to rest, and some stories refuse to end. And some mysteries never sleep. Until next time, keep watching the darkness, because it's watching you.
Okay. First of all, the darkness is creepy. Don't be watching me like that. The second of all, I see what you did there with the mysteries, and okay, that was smooth. That was slick. A couple other things I want to touch base on. The bitch running around with her sliced wrist. I don't know what scares me more in movies more than a bleeding wrist. That it gets me like I want to faint. The ghost bread, bitch, wrap it up. I want to take it home. The electroshock therapy, fuck those assholes. I always hated that. That's such a disgusting form of therapy, quote unquote. Well, what is it with the nurses and the suicides? And then we got the fucking creeper and the Resident Evil looking son of a bitch climbing the walls. And then we got the evil Oculus mirror movie looking motherfuckers trying to look like me, but be like me, but be cuntier than me. You don't get to do that. Okay. That's all. That's all I have for you. For me. Yeah.
It's all so crazy. The one that got me was those doppelgangers. I don't want to see me. I barely want to look at myself in the mirror, let alone see a full body me. No.
I'll fuck myself up. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm about to beat my ass so hard if I freaking see another me anywhere. So, like, dark, quiet, whatever. But what got me the most are the sounds of doctors doing surgeries. Like, that is... everything else is obviously creepy, but that's super creepy, too.
Ugh.
Yeah, what a wild story. I don't even have words. Like, it's a wild story.
Yeah, this one will definitely keep you up at night.
This was a really good story, and the fact that, you were able to share more details of specific ghosts and sightings and apparitions and everything, that's just really super nerve-wracking. Mm-hmm. And why are people trying to break into the place to experience things? Like, no thanks. I'm good.
Because they obviously haven't watched the movie The House on Haunted Hill. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? God damn.
Right. Like, this shit can follow you, and I'm not bringing that home to my cat. Thanks.
No hauntings for you, puss puss?
No, sir. None here, thanks.
Well, great story. That was a great way to bring it home for the damn finale. Wow.
Thank you. All right, well, there is mine for the paranormal. I heard a little bit of yours, love, but I had to walk out of the room because I wanted to be surprised. So I'm ready for your story.
So I'm almost positive everybody's probably heard a little something about this, but continuing and ending with my Michigan theme, this is the story of Kevin Bacon and Mark Latunsky. This is a story of Kevin Bacon, a young man who vanished on Christmas Eve 2019, only to be found days later in a scene straight out of a horror film. His killer, Mark...
Is he purple? Is he killing of a different color?
What's the worst? His killer, Mark Latunsky, wasn't just a murderer. He was a cannibal, a predator lurking in plain sight. Tonight, we unravel the chilling details of Michigan's Christmas cannibal case. How did this happen? Could it have been prevented? And what does it reveal about the darkness that sometimes hides behind the most ordinary of faces? Stay next to me, wife, because this story is about to get even more disturbing.
I sure will.
Mark Latunsky was a highly functioning adult, graduating from Central Michigan University and then continuing his education and graduating from Iowa State University with his master's and was even valedictorian at his graduation. Mark then became a chemist whose salary was $100,000 a year at the time of his divorce in 2013. Mark then moved back to his hometown, where he met his now ex-wife, Emily Latunsky. After dating for a year, the two married in 2001 and ended up having 4 children together. Prior to starting their family, the two bought a house and immediately started building a basement. Mark raised the foundation of the pre-existing house and lifted the entire house to build the basement. The basement is where Mark ended up making his kids' room and play areas for them. Emily described Mark as calm, very hardworking, quiet, and kind. She said her marriage in the early years was very happy. Emily remembers a time when she had discovered a picture of a naked man on Mark's computer. When confronted by Emily, Mark reassured her that he was simply ensuring that he, quote-unquote, measured up to Emily's expectations, though the way he hesitated suggested there was more to the story than he was willing to admit.
I'm going to have to pull the plug on the closeted freak. What? Let's just pull it right there. Let the water drain down real quick. Honey. If she was probably that stupid little naive bitch, it's like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. No, it doesn't, you fucking dumb bitch. He's fucking dick. Okay, continue. That's all.
In 2010 is when all hell broke loose. Emily started to become concerned with Mark's mental state. Mark had been saying he was an heir to a big trust fund and that he didn't know who was in control of it, but that he certainly had a trust fund out there. Mark also became paranoid and had started to develop illusions that would make him lose touch with reality. Mark ended up going into a mental hospital for 4 days. The psychiatrist stated that Mark was under extreme stress and was sent home with medications. Then, when Mark got home, he refused to continue taking his medications. So while he was off his meds, Mark then admitted to Emily that he had been cheating on her with men when he went off on his business trips and that he would go online seeking men to have sex with. Both Emily and Mark decided to seek marriage counseling. Emily told Mark that she would give him a year to try and work their marriage out. Mark ended up not taking Emily seriously and went back to cheating on her with men. So yes, Josh, you are correct.
That is just crazy.
And to just sit there and lie about it, like just come out, man. Like we are in 2020. I don't know, what was it, 2010? But I mean,
Right.
even still, like just come out of the closet. I mean,
what the fuck was it gonna do? Pray the gay away for a year? Like, shut the fuck up. He's gay. God damn.
Well, just let it be.
Let it go.
In 2012, Emily asked Mark for a divorce. Emily ends up leaving Mark and taking their kids to her parents' house. Mark then goes back into the mental hospital. While staying there for a second time around, Mark is diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and extreme depression. Once again, Mark starts taking his medications during his stay at the mental hospital, gets released early and sent home, and then stops taking his medicine. During this time, Emily is bringing the kids by to see Mark, but Mark starts insinuating that Emily and the kids are trying to poison him. Emily makes the decision to start court proceedings that would allow unsupervised visits between Mark and the children for 2 weeks during the summer. Of course, the first time Mark gets the kids, he then answers a call from Emily asking when she could expect the kids back. The 2 weeks have passed, and Mark answers her by saying, "I'm not bringing them back, and if you don't like it, call the cops." After hanging up with Mark, Emily calls the police, and they tell her that there's nothing they can do. Emily then calls her lawyer, who contacts and notifies Mark that he needs to return the children the following day. Mark tells Emily's lawyer that he will not be bringing them back. Then, the following day, Mark leaves his house with all 4 children and takes them to a water park. Cops end up arresting Mark at the water park and return the children to Emily. Mark was charged with 2 counts of kidnapping and custodial interference. Mark was then ordered to supervise visits. However, after the first supervised visit, Mark told Emily that he didn't like being supervised when he was with the kids, so that he would no longer be coming to visit them. During the interview, Eliza, Mark's daughter, stated that she hadn't seen her father for 4 years during that time. She was 9 years old when Mark decided to stop seeing them. Fast forward to 2015, Mark ends up getting remarried to a man named Jamie. Jamie, like Emily, stated that he was very happy in the beginning and described Mark as loving, and the two of them were very happy. 3 years later, in 2018, Mark reaches out to Emily through her lawyer and asks to see the kids. Then a year later, in February of 2019, the kids decided themselves to stop seeing Mark. That same year, Mark ends up losing his job, and in September of 2019, Jamie leaves Mark. Jamie told the police that he started fearing for his life because Mark seemed so out of touch and paranoid all the time that it only got increasingly worse over the years. Jamie also told police that Mark was talking with other men he would find online who would agree to have sex with him. After Jamie left, Mark started selling himself sexually online. Mark would tell other men that he would do anything as long as they paid him.
That's wild. I mean, to go from being married to a woman, then cheating on her with a man, and then getting remarried to a woman, I have no words. I can't even.
Woo. I've had it with this fucker.
And the reason why I even included how much he made like a year up until 2013 was I felt like that was kind of an important detail of the story because he went from that to literally selling himself online to make money. It was just crazy. In October of 2019, 2 months before Mark meets Kevin, a 48-year-old James Carlson called 911 telling the operator that he has escaped from Mark's basement after cutting himself free from his chains with a knife. Carlson told police that he flew from New York to Michigan to meet Mark for sex. Another incident involved a neighbor encountering a man covered in blood on Mark's front porch crying out, "He wants to kill me." Both victims ended up telling police that the sex was consensual. Fearing for their life, both stated that they did not want to press charges. Christmas Eve, 2019, Mark meets Kevin Bacon, a 22-year-old college student at the University of Michigan Flint and hairstylist. Close friends say that Kevin was fun, outgoing, and kind-hearted. The pair started sending messages to one another on Grindr, discussing what they would do to one another sexually. Kevin decides to meet up with Mark, and the two meet up in a shopping center. Mark told Kevin that he wanted to purchase things for Kevin to wear before going back to Mark's house. Mark goes into the store and purchases handcuffs. He then tells Kevin, during their messages back and forth with one another, that Mark wanted to make it appear to look like a kidnapping when they first meet up. So Kevin proceeded to handcuff himself and get into the back of Mark's car. When Mark and Kevin got back to Mark's home, the two had sex, and Mark blindfolded Kevin and covered him in a blanket, then walked him towards the basement. So the reason why I added the fact that they went back to the house and then they ended up having sex is because obviously Kevin developed trust towards Mark, so then Mark blindfolded him and covered him in a blanket and walked him towards the basement. Remember the basement that was made of kids' rooms and their playrooms? Now Mark had turned the basement into a torture sex dungeon. There were different kinds of paraphernalia, along with torture items that he would use to engage in sexual acts. Mark then stabbed Kevin in the back of the neck and slit Kevin's throat. Mark then used a rope to tie Kevin to a pulley system that he had built and suspended Kevin's lifeless body from the ceiling. After hanging Kevin from the ceiling, Mark then took a knife and mutilated Kevin's body. Mark then proceeded to remove Kevin's testicles. The next day, Christmas Day, when Kevin did not show up at his family's house to celebrate, they contacted the police and made a missing person report. Kevin's car was later found in the shopping center. While everyone was out searching for Kevin, Mark was at Jamie's house celebrating the holiday with him. Jamie had invited him over as he did not want anyone to be alone on the holiday. 3 fucking days go by, you guys, before the police even searched Kevin's car. There, they found a bag of clothes in the back seat, along with Kevin's cell phone. After gaining access to his cell phone, the police discovered the conversation between the pair on the Grindr app. This is what ultimately led the cops to Mark's house. When the cops got to Mark's house, Mark let the police right in to search. They literally knocked on the door of his house and he said, "Come right in." December 28th, 2019, 3 days after the disappearance of Kevin, cops found his body still hanging in the basement behind a secret room that he had built. Behind a barn door, Kevin's body was found mutilated and decomposing. Mark was arrested and put into the back of a police car. Mark told the police that Kevin had asked to be murdered. At the police station during the interrogation, the cops asked Mark about cannibalizing Kevin's testicles. This is how the conversation went. So I actually did find the video of them having a conversation with Mark when he got arrested and during the interrogation process. Cop: "Where did you do that?" Mark: "On the kitchen stove." Cop: "With a frying pan?" Mark: "It was a griddle. I mean, I eat Rocky Mountain oysters anyways." Cops: "Sure." Mark: "I have a carton of them that I bought. And so it's really simple. You slice them thin. You saute them with some
I'm sorry, I'm watching Dylan gag over there.
Worcestershire, I know,
Worcestershire, yes.
sauce. And once they're done, you just eat them. 50-year-old Mark was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and an additional 11 to 120 months for the mutilation of Kevin's body. The Michigan Christmas cannibal case is not just a gruesome tale. It's a reminder that horror doesn't need the cover of darkness to thrive. It can unfold in the glow of holiday lights, hidden behind the illusion of normalcy, waiting for the moment to reveal its true nature. As the season of warmth and celebration returns each year, the echoes of that night never truly fade. They linger, just like the monsters that walk among us.
Wow.
That is probably the most disgusting story I might have ever heard.
It's a good season finale, that's for sure.
I believe I heard of this lightly, but I never knew these fucking details to this shit.
To eat his testicles. That is disgusting. Dylan, I have a question. Were you for real gagging over there?
Yes. I have a weak stomach. And the details, when she was telling the details of just everything, I had to close my ears and just be like, I can't hear you. Like, because, wow, that was awful.
The only thing that I can say is how incredibly sad. However, the fact that he was, like, all of that was done to him after he had already died. Like, it's horrible to begin with, but I guess, I don't know. I remember this story and how it hit home because everybody knows I'm a huge Michigan fan, U of M, diehard for sure. So I did hear of this, but I didn't even think about going into details with any of this. It's just crazy.
Even crazier is that's actually the app that Dylan and I met on when we were both floozying around town. So it could have been one of us. You don't know when you're getting on these apps, right? Like if you're meeting someone that's crazy, and I'm not going to say, like if I'm being full disclosed here, I've done some stuff that I shouldn't even bring out of the closet, pun intended. But I ultimately, you never know who you're hooking up with. So you got to be fucking safe. Meet in a public place. Do everything I didn't do right off the bat. Luckily Dylan didn't let me in his house for 3 months before he finally let me get in his life. And I finally was like, dude, if you don't let me in your apartment, like I seriously am going to think you're married. It's like a hoarder situation. You have bodies hanging all over your ceilings with testicles out of them. I don't know what's going on. And he finally let me in there, and it's like pristine and clean and beautiful. I'm like, why couldn't I enter this place before? He's like, I don't know if you're crazy. I'm like, okay, touche.
So another reason too that I involved the questions, how did this happen and could it have been prevented? In our prior episodes, we talked about our very super early episodes. We talked about how we feel how a person's upbringing, has to deal with them later on in life, and whether or not they have the mentality to rise above, if you will, and this and that. But I mean, this guy was so intelligent. He was a chemist. He graduated with his master's and was valedictorian and had a decent upbringing and everything. It was just the fact that the psychiatrist said that his symptoms of paranoia and all of that schizophrenia diagnosis came later on in life because he was repressing his sexuality so much. Like, it literally just did something to his brain, and it just snapped one day, and all of a sudden he's schizophrenic and he's doing all this weird stuff. But it's telling on what repression can do to a person's body and just how it affects your mind. It's crazy. So I feel like how did this happen? I feel like the system failed him completely, which they do on many cases when it comes to mental illness, for sure. And just, oh, you're going to check in for 4 days. Let's give you a few pills, to get you by. And then you're just hopped up on meds all the time. Then to just treat mental illness as like it's just mental illness. It's just mental. Like, no, it's a serious problem that we have. And when it's not prevented and it's not looked into, this is what happens. And it's so sad. It's so very sad because he was so young. Not that it's okay if they're older, but I'm just saying, I do think it could have been prevented. And I just think the system failed all over again.
I agree. This is what happens when people are suppressed and they don't have an avenue to escape or to be able to truly find themselves and feel safe in an environment that allows them to be who they are, their authentic person. That isn't a society that we're really going into, and it's just going to get worse as we continue on with this hate trail of bullshit. And something's got to change, because we're going to have a million of these men going out there killing women, killing men, killing whoever, just to fill their need some sick fucking way. It's really honestly terrifying for the future.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we definitely need to get our shit together, man. Holy crap. I just wanted to, bring reflection to Kevin Bacon himself, and just, to our audience and our listeners out there, just be careful. You can't ever be too safe. Text people where you're going, send addresses, send pins, the technology that we have nowadays. Take Snapchats of, people's addresses that you're entering, and just make sure that when you are in the dating pool, and I get that you're young, we've all been there. We've all been super young and super naive, but I just honestly feel like back in the early 90s, we were able to be a little naive. Now, I just think that we should really, really consider our surroundings as gay people, as women, as men, as anybody. Just be aware of your surroundings. Be careful of who you're talking to online. It's crazy.
And to your point, use the technology to your advantage. Get the videos and let the person know, hey, by the way, I'm sending this information to my friend because I don't fucking know you. And if they're totally cool with that, you're pretty much safe, because they know that they're going to get fucked if they do anything to you.
Exactly. And above all else, Josh, we all have that little voice. Trust your intuition, trust that voice, and just do things smarter. Like, meet up with people with a group of friends prior to going out, or there's so many things. Just be careful out there.
All right, my love. That was a crazy story, and I honestly had never even heard of these people. How sad. And that guy, he sucks.
Like Dylan's mom's TikTok shop. Just kidding, Dylan's mom, I love you.
All jokes aside, Ellie Mae, yeah, she does have a TikTok shop. No, it doesn't suck. We like to your mom joke each other quite often, and that just happens to be the newest trend of your moms in our group session of jokes.
All right, so my sources are the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.com and AmericanHauntingsInc.com. And then I have a couple more, and then I also incorporated some pictures as well.
So my sources would include AnnieTV.com. They did a story on him, Lansing State Journal, Film Rise, True Crime, I'm Related to a Killer. That was interesting. And the Detroit News.
Well, everybody, we have now got to the end of the road for our first season, your first season as podcast hosts and storytellers and entertainers. What have been some highlights for you, and what are some things that you're going to remember going forward?
I am going to remember all of these stories. Tiananmen Square, oh my gosh, that one is going to stick with me for forever. And the Waverly Hills. I've always been fascinated with this one, but I didn't know hardly any of that. Like the two boys that had died there, the one with his dog in the elevator shaft. No idea. I have greatly enjoyed this experience.
Yeah, I definitely second that. As being new co-hosts and everything on the show, I really appreciate that opportunity to see what this is all about, and to see about making more memories with each other and just having fun doing what we do. But I'm definitely second guessing how beloved my Michigan is, because holy crap, all these crazy stories this whole season just based on Michigan. I'm excited to explore different countries for next episodes and next season and get into even scarier, darker things. I'm excited.
Yeah, and for me, it's just listening to other people's stories and people listening to mine that they've never heard of. It's just crazy to think like how much sadness and hauntings and murders and everything that's happened in this world that people can write stories about and just continue their story of like actually listening to what happened to them. It's really exciting, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
I would say my highlights have just been getting this back and going again. Honestly, Renee and I took a hiatus. There was no bad blood, like I mentioned in the beginning of the season. We just didn't really know what we were going to do after the last, season 2 ended. With, Renee had life changes. She went through a divorce. She, got a great new promotion. And, ultimately, she just, we couldn't continue on. And then I kind of like pushed all of you into this awesome idea of how do we make this work as a friend pair virtually, still keeping the same theme and the same structure without overwhelming each other with the amount of storytelling we all have to do. And ultimately, we all found a way to compromise and work together well as a team without having it interfere with our personal lives. And I'm just really happy that it's worked and that we've had fun and that we've learned from each other and laughed with each other. And I'm just excited to be able to tell more stories and to keep it going. We have a lot of plans for season 4. We're going to incorporate some different elements into our banter when we're having some discussions. We're going to pick some random what if questions and, maybe shag, marry, kill. Maybe we'll do some of that. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a little crazy. We're going to pick them out of a little pile and we're going to just start popping off some questions just so you get to know us on a more intense but wild and crazy scale. I think the obsessions are great, but I think that we can provide you a little more fun into what we have to offer. And then as far as the storytelling, like Stacey said, we are going to go worldwide, baby. We're going to give you some Ireland, some Scotland, some Japan, Africa. I don't fucking know. If it's haunted and there's crime, we're there. And just like mysteries never sleep, bitches.
And neither do we.
Season 3 is a wrap.
Hey!
Bye, bitches.
Humor, haunts, and homicide.